Thank you.
Jordan speaks what now?
-7 through 8 today.
Today or
Yeah.
total?
Total.
Oh, shoot, I was hoping it was today.
Not quite. -1 day.
All right, good afternoon. We're from Auburn University, and my name is Hannah Dewberry. I'm from Eufaula, Alabama. I will graduate in August, and I'm interning this summer with Yellowwood.
Hello, I'm Jared Hughes. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I graduate in May, and I'm going to work for Amazon in a fulfillment center doing operations.
My name is Mason Drake. I'm also graduating in May. I'm from Peachtree City, Georgia, and I'm going to work for Georgia Pacific in the procurement department.
And I'm Daly Miller. I'm also graduating in May. I'm originally from LA, otherwise known as Lower Alabama, and I will be starting with Lockheed Martin this summer in the procurement department. So kind of to kick us off, I'm going to give you all a bit of an overview of what we're going to cover. We're going to start with a problem statement and then move into some assumptions that we made based on the case information. From there, we'll move into our approach by covering 3 options that we identified, and then we'll go into our solution, cost models to back up our solution, and we'll cover our questions that we were given last night. So the big problem for Ice Cold Express is that their customers are requesting intermodal capabilities, which they don't currently have. This coupled with the industry-wide driver shortage is a great time for Ice Cold Express to get into this industry. The way we broke it down was comparing what they currently have to what they could have, starting with tractors between their current fleet of long-haul tractors compared to new dray tractors, and then within the trailers by modifying what they have to TOFC trailers or moving into an acquired container fleet. So I hate to read to y'all off the slide, but that's kind of the only way I can give y'all this assumption, or assumptions that we made. Starting with the long-haul tractors have sleeper cabs and dray tractors do not. We decided on a max 3-year return on investment, and then we decided that the average age of trailers was 7 years. Given a 14-year lifespan, we decided a midpoint was better to take than assuming all brand new trailers. These last 3 points are kind of go more into calculations that went into our cost model, starting with 31-day months, and then about 15 run hours of per average for each reefer unit, which leads up to about 4.5 years of usage for a reefer unit. I'll now turn it over to Hannah to discuss our first option.
Option 1 is for Ice Cold Express to acquire a dedicated container fleet. And this consists of Ice Cold Express replacing their existing reefer trailers with reefer containers. There are many advantages and disadvantages to this, and we'll cover the advantages first. The first is there are more container lanes versus trailer and flat car lanes. And according to the given case material, there's reduced complexity within the rail terminal. And we spoke to a CSX operations manager who informed us that CSX and other railroads are moving away from spine cars, which accommodate those trailer and flat cars. Containers are more cost efficient because you can double stack containers. This is twice the capacity, and you can. This saves money for the railroad, which saves money for Ice Cold Express, which in turn saves money for the customer. And the salvage value percent is higher on containers than trailer and flat car. Disadvantages is the containers plus the chassis is a greater weight than the trailer and flat car weight. The ownership costs on a per day basis are higher, and the lifespan compared to a trailer on flat car is shorter. Lift on and lift off costs at terminals are higher, and there's a possibility that service failure is insufficient if the chassis is unavailable, and that delays the time for the container to get to the customer from the rail terminal. There's also terminal lead times. If you take that into consideration, those are long for containers, and we don't recommend option 1 because of the huge upfront investment to replace your whole entire fleet.
So the second option that we examined was making modifications to our current trailers so that they could be applied to intermodal usage. One of the biggest advantages that we saw that we had is that we had an existing trailer unit, or a trailer fleet unit. Compared to the initial investment that Hannah was just talking about for acquiring a container fleet, this would be much less. Trailers also have a greater load capacity in comparison to containers, and as well, by giving case information, terminal operations are also faster using trailer and flat car. One of the biggest advantages that we saw is the flexibility that trailer and flat car provide. And this kind of goes towards having a chassis fleet on hand, especially if you don't have one at a certain terminal or if you have a double stack container and you don't have enough chassis to cover that. This also goes into if you have a shorter haul where it might really save more money to use a trailer instead of shipping it via train. Though this was originally our favorite option for Ice Cold Express, we also recognized that there were significant disadvantages as well. The largest one being the decreasing amount of trailer and flat car lanes that railroads are having. They're all kind of the industry trends is that they're moving towards container usage instead of trailer usage. As well as, while they do have a greater capacity in a trailer than one container, the ability to double stack containers is another big disadvantage for a trailer on flat car. And like Hannah mentioned, terminal lead times are another thing to consider. I'll now turn it over to Jared to present option 3.
So our third option is essentially a combination of the first two options. This would include doing trailer modifications to a percentage of the current trailer fleet, and as some of those trailers aged out, we would phase in by purchasing containers with reefer units to replace them. This gives us some flexibility within our fleet, and Ice Cold Express flexibility within its fleet, and it gives several advantages. First of all, it gives time for Ice Cold Express to gain experience in the intermodal segment, which they previously have zero experience. It allows for more cost savings to the customer, especially as rail shipments grow longer. I'll go over more on that in a second. As rail shipments grow longer, your cost savings to the customer are greater using containers. This would keep up with industry trends in the long run. Again, going back to what Daly and Hannah said, railroads tend to be going away from trailer and flat car towards using containers, and this prevents the massive startup cost of reinvesting in an entirely new fleet. Some of the cons, you lose your initial investment on the trailer and flat cars modifications to make them intermodal capable. It's a sunk cost once the trailer ages out and it's replaced with a intermodal container. And this, a second part of this, which Mason will go more into in a second, there is a portion of this that we said to maintain serviceability to the customer, shipments under 600 miles will still be shipped via long haul truck. And this allows for more flexibility. This allows for more flexibility and serviceability to the customers because we consider that 600 miles a one-day shipment. And so this is numbers backing up, referring to some of what we've gone over. It costs more per day to maintain a reefer unit than a reefer container than a trailer on flat car. Those salvage values are actually flipped in this presentation. So it's actually $7,300 salvage value for a reefer container and $5,700 for a trailer. And then your lifespan of a trailer is longer than a reefer unit or of a container. And then down here we did a small weight comparison. So using a trailer and having a long haul tractor would actually give you more flexibility and more pounds that you can ship in a single load over the road. And okay, this goes back to my cost savings to the customer. As your rail mileage is increased, the cost difference also increases, giving container pricing a more advantageous level. And so several industry trends, we actually found this doing some research the other day. According to IANA, there's actually a downward trend in the usage of trailer on flat cars, using rail shipments, and an upward trend of intermodal container usage within the industry. And also through our contact at CSX, he informed us that CSX has invested $850 million since 2008 to accommodate double stacking containers. And I'm going to pass on to Mason for a solution recommendation.
So piggybacking off of what Jared has said, going with our solution, we want to stick with long haul over the road shipments up to 600 miles. In the case, it was presented that 600 miles is a one-day shipment, and so we wanted to increase serviceability, not have to worry about the lead time at the rail terminal, making customers wait a day and a half, 2 days, and so on. But also seeing the advantages to the containers, we do want to slowly phase those in, and as our modified trailers age out. We need to modify the trailers currently so that we can immediately submit bids to the customers that are requiring the intermodal piece. But when we phase in the containers, we'll be able to utilize more cost savings to the customer and also see greater shipping ability and serviceability throughout. One thing that will have to be done throughout the solution is a continuous evaluation of our trailer life and financial break-even points for some of these shipments. What we're seeing is a trend for more and more or longer rail shipments, and so therefore we feel that utilizing containers is the better option for those long rail shipments. So there is going to be a nice balance point between the number of trailers that we have and the containers that we're using. Here's the cost model for our over-the-road and long-haul shipments. We're using an example of 600 miles again because this was given in the case as our one-day shipments. You can see that the margins are 7% on our long-haul over the road. This is greater than 5% that we'll make on a short haul during the intermodal sector. This is, again, going to be a little higher to the customer, but the trade-off is the serviceability, being able to get their shipment to them on time. The next cost model is showing the whole intermodal cost, and so what we're comparing here is the trailer cost versus the container cost. You can see the most important piece really is just down here at the bottom. The total line cost for the trailer versus the container is a little greater, but it's still cheaper than the long haul truck. So as we go ahead and modify some trailers to use the intermodal piece, customers will already see a price break. As we phase in more and more containers, they will continue to see a greater price break, which makes Ice Cold Express more competitive in the market, and really switching from trailer to container doesn't cause any problem to the margin for Ice Cold Express.
Okay, so last night we were given 3 additional questions to add on to our case study, and I'm going to cover the first one. I just want to point out one typo at the top right heading where it says over-the-road capacity. That's supposed to be container capacity. Just want to throw that in there. But for question 1, we calculated the capacity and the weight for over-the-road, trailer and flat car, and container. We also broke it up between like if you're using a long haul or a drayage tractor. The over-the-road trailer and trailer and flat car capacity is 3,605 cubic feet, and the capacity for the container is 3,472 cubic feet. As you can see, the long haul trailer weighs more across the board. It's 3,500 difference in pounds, and although we considered that in our solution that using long haul tractors weighs more than drayage, but we considered the advantages of long haul outweigh that one disadvantage of the weight difference in our solution. And over the road has the highest available freight capacity according to the max highway weight of 80,000 pounds. And I'm going to pass on to Jared for question 2.
Question 2 was regarding the door-to-door economics of 3 different shipments of 3 different commodities at 2 different diesel prices. And in our model, the shipping in containers actually came out to be the cheapest in all 3 shipments. But I would just like to point out that under our recommendation, the second move for candy, the candy commodity, would actually be shipped over the road because its mileage was only 321 miles. And that, again, would be less than a day shipment, and it would give you a one-day delivery to your customer from origin to destination. And I'm going to pass it on to Mason for what's next.
So question 3 really encompasses the entire case. We felt like And so this is kind of going back to our solution and how Ice Cold Express is going to move forward. Like I said earlier, it's going to be a continuous evaluation process. This cannot be a one-time, let's buy 20 containers and be done with it. Each year or even every 6 months or each quarter, they need to go in and evaluate the trailers that are dying out, and then also the increased volume and length of rail capacity in the containers. With the trailer modifications, one thing that was given to us in the case was that Ice Cold Express currently ships 58% of their shipments between 300 and 750 miles. Obviously, that 750 miles is a little more than the 600 that we were suggesting for a long haul shipment, but we suggest that modifications should only take place in about 60% of the trailers. This will allow us to grasp the entire intermodal portion that we're planning to utilize without making a full investment to modify 100% of the trailers, which ultimately aren't going to be put to 100% use intermodally. And as we phase in the reefer containers, it is important that this is incremental because the cost of the reefer trailer is so high and the return on investment goes beyond the ideal 3 years. We are going to need it to be incremental so that we don't totally disrupt the bank and hurt our cash flow. And then again, just continuous break even of these financial sections.
So to give you a quick little recap of what we covered today, we presented you with Ice Cold Express's problem of wanting to get into the intermodal market. We presented you with 3 different options, and what we chose, or what we felt was the best solution, which was a mix between the phasing in the reefer containers as well as modifying our current trailers. We hope that we provided you with a good solution, some good energy at the end of this very long day, and we would love to take any questions that you now have.
Do you think the customers will want intermodal for these long hauls for perishable items?
Well, as it was presented in the case, it was required piece for most of these bids. But the cost difference going in for the intermodal piece is so great to the customer that we do feel that, even on perishable items, it can be, refueled and temperature can be maintained.
Move number 1, which is your lettuce, or move number 3, which is meat, and it's transit time for that, or based on how long your lettuce will last.
Do I know
Is
the
that
trend?
is that in take consideration at all?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that it was. Taking into consideration, can you ask the question again? I apologize.
So, move number 1,
Yes.
that is from California to Chicago.
Yes,
So how long will that take, and how long will lettuce last?
750 miles, and
If you go intermodal.
if you go intermodal,
Do you know the mileage?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know the mileage off the top of my head. I think it was about 2,000, maybe 2,300 miles on rail, 100 miles to the origin terminal. So it's I don't know the numbers off the top of my head.
So your recommendation was based on the pricing only, not on any risk assessment of customer service, correct? That's not necessarily wrong, I'm just.
Yeah, yes,
But
yes, that's correct.
that's what you presented.
Yes,
correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yes.
You used 600 miles, up to 600 miles as your over the road, and you stated that was because that was a one-day transit. How did you calculate that being a one-day transit?
It was given to us in the case.
That was it?
Yeah, it said that truck can travel 600 miles in a day and the train can travel 750.
I think I heard you guys say something about you phase out your over-the-road reefers and purchase container reefers.
Yes.
Did you consider any other procurement options for reefers other than buying?
As in leasing or
We talked about it, but we did not consider that fully, or go through all that all the way in our analysis, just due to the fact that container usage is growing so highly. We thought that having our own acquired fleet would be better than leasing these.
What about the dredge? How do you handle that? Are you gonna handle that with your own fleet, or would you, you would handle that with your own fleet?
Yes.
When you're existing over-the-road tractor, you're not gonna upgrade your tractor.
No,
Correct.
that's right.
I think I saw in your presentation, you had cost per day for a container was $55 and a trailer was $42. Is that something that you calculated, or was that in the study?
As in the study.
Yeah, well,
There
no.
was multiple pieces that went into it that we were given in the study, but we calculated that out. That included fuel usage, runtime for both the reefer and maintenance costs as well, per day for the reefer and for the trailer or container.
And is the chassis incorporated into that cost?
Yes, it is.
Is your plan to convert all of your trailers to containers over time?
No, that's why we had suggested the break-even analysis throughout, continuous analysis, just to, depending on the life of the trailer, which we either need to get a new trailer or buy, purchase a container. We were gonna base this analysis off the volume of long-distance shipments that were going over these 600 miles that would make more economic sense to ship via rail.
Right.
So that would make more sense to have more containers then, but if that changed in the future, by doing this continuous analysis, you would know whether you wanted to quit purchasing as many containers or purchase more trailers.
But it's not expected to, that trailers will be phased out completely because not all, we don't expect 100% of shipments to get beyond the 600 miles.
So presently, your market, according to case, you have 58% of your activity is less than 750 miles. So your strategy is to convert to containers with the idea in mind that that's where your customers are gonna wanna go, and do something more longer than that.
The distance getting longer than that, that's what we found with the industry, and so that is kind of where we expected our customers to want to take that as well. And because of we didn't discuss it as much, but also because of the driver shortage that the industry is facing, it's going to be more paramount for the rail to take it further, because you only need 2 guys on the train to ship it as opposed to a truck driver for every trailer. And so we just think that it's going to trend in that direction. And so the container cost on a rail is cheaper than it is for us to put a trailer and a driver. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
We're gonna use the Phil Shook Methodist Ward.
We want to do what?
The Phil Shook, remember Phil last year, had you get up on the board and keep track of
Had me?
it?
I will as soon as I've got to finish the email here real quick, and then I will